This lesson will be looking at solving equations or systems of equations using algebra. This first method is called substitution. In order to do the substitution method, there are 3 steps. The first step is you have to solve one of the equations for x or y. It has to be x equals something or y equals something. Then you need to, for step 2, substitute the value for one of the variables into the equation and solve. And then lastly, step 3 is to substitute your answer in one of the equations to find the second part of the ordered pair. So here's what all that means. Let's take for our example that we have the 2 equations in our system, y equals x minus 4 and 4x plus y equals 26. It's appropriate to note here that if you look at step 1 of our substitution method, it says you need to either have or make in one of the equations be solved for either x or y. So we know that when looking at an equation system just like this, it is appropriate to use the substitution method because step 1 is already done. You have one of the equations already solved for y. This equation here is already solved for y. So in our equation, our other equation, 4x plus y equals 26, we can substitute the value of y in where the y goes. So if you notice, I color-coded it. So I have y equals x minus 4. Every time in the second equation where there's a y, I'm going to substitute or replace y with the value x minus 4. So I would have 4x, and then I'm replacing y with x minus 4, so plus x minus 4, and then that's still equal to 26. Now I should have an equation that has only one variable that I can solve for find that value of that variable. So our one variable in this case is x. So I want to be able to solve this equation for x. So to start simplifying what's on the left hand side before I begin to isolate the x, I can combine my like terms. My like terms are terms that have the same variable and the same exponent. So in this case, that would be the 4x and the x. 4x plus x is 5x. And then there's nothing I can combine with the minus 4, so I leave that as minus 4. And that's equal to 26. So if I was going to solve this equation now, I'd have to start by isolating the x. So I want to add 4 to both sides of my equal sign. Minus 4 plus 4 cancel each other out. I'm left with 5x. And then 26 plus 4 is 30. The last thing I would do would be divide both sides by 5. These 5s would cancel each other out. And I'm left with x being equal to 30 divided by 5, which is 6. So now we know that the value of x in our system of equations is 6. So that is half of our solution, because remember, the solution is the ordered pair that both lines share, or basically when we graphed it was where the lines intersect. So our x value of that coordinate would be 6. So to find the y value of the coordinate, I have to substitute 6 in for x in either one of the equations to find the value of y. It does not matter which equation you choose. I would look at it and see which equation looks the easiest to solve for the value of y. I personally think that the equation with the less numbers, the less stuff, would be the easiest. So I would use, personally, the top equation. I would use y equals x minus 4. We know that x was 6 because we solved for it on the other slide. So I would have then, if I substituted in the value for x, y equals 6 minus 4. That's easy to do, so I can do 6 minus 4, and that gives me 2. So my value of y is 2. So my solution is the ordered pair, 6 as my x value, and 2 as my y value, right? Because an ordered pair looks like that. So my solution to that equation is the 0.62.